Hello, I want to make a tutorial, like a short tutorial on how to use the Tilky engine as the Steam release is approaching. Hopefully it will be live by it will just be a brief video, like a part one, on showing how to make a level. I won't get into details such as scripting and advanced level editor features such as through room, overroom. It will just be a short video on how to build a simple level. First, we have to install the engine, obviously. If you are watching this after the Steam release, the engine will be on Steam for free. You can install it from there. But right now, you can only install from GitHub. So the link will be in the description. You can simply visit the GitHub page. And if you want, you can build from source. There's a guide, like a short thing how to build from source. Or you can simply just install the releases from here. So go click releases, and there will be a list of all the releases. You can install any version. In this tutorial, I will be using the latest one, which is beta 1.5.0, release candidate 2. So you can also read what has been added. So simply scroll down and click on assets. And if you press release candidate 2.zip, it will ask you to install. And you can install it and unzip it, and it will be an exe file that you can just run without doing anything extra. So I already have it installed. So let me actually open it on my. So once you have unzipped the file, you see these files. You don't need to deal with any of them. In fact, you shouldn't touch them. You can simply just double click tilkengine.exe to open the launcher. So this is the launcher. When you first open it, obviously you won't have these projects list. It will just be empty. So this, if you use like Unity Hub or like the Godot or like a pretty much an engine, it will be familiar to you. You can just press create project, and it will ask you for a name. So let's name our projects. Let's name my project. Let's click create. Oh, let's name my project. Yes, and then we can go back and just close the launcher. We don't need that one. And when you first open the menus, they might be in different places, so you can arrange them any way you want. There's quite a few, but do not worry, it's actually all simple. So let's first start with the asset browser. If you ever use, again, any engine, you should also be very familiar. Asset browser is just a representation of the files in your project, so you don't need to close the app, open your file manager, load the assets, and open the app, and you can simply load them all from here. It's a quality of life. And as you can see, there's an automatic levels directory created for you. It's just there, like, to get you started. You don't actually need one. You can store your levels anywhere, and there are like options to create a low file or custom file and folders and stuff. So first, let's load some textures. So I already have some PNGs ready for this video. Currently, only PNGs are supported. One more file versions, but support for my more file versions. So I can just drag and drop them right onto the asset browser, but it will be messy. So first, I want to right click and create a folder, and let's name it textures. Let's double click to open the textures folder, and let me close this. And I will just select all of this and simply drag and drop. And now I can close this. And as you can see, all the textures are loaded here. And we can also rename them if you want. But I will keep them like this, and you can also delete them. So let's get started building a level. To do that, we should first create a level. You don't need to create the level immediately. You can first build a level and then create it. But like, just to be safe, we can create it first. So open the project settings, press create level, and then name it something. My first level, click create, and then when we save, as you can see, the file it is getting listed here, and it is also listed here if you want to see all of them as an item. Anyways, we can follow this. If you don't want like the black, like dark mode, you can press this. In my opinion, it doesn't. So I will continue the black version, like the dark version, and just close this. And let's start building a level. It's just levels. Like if you ever use the ultimate Doom builder or like any Doom builder, or if you have an idea on how like Doom levels work, you should be very familiar. It works the exact same way. Levels, they are created out of sectors, and sectors are just a 2D shape of bunch of like corners, and then those corners they come together to create a room with the wall heights. You can assign them in data set. You will like once you see it in the game, it will make much more sense. So to create a room, a sector, you can go to the sector mode here, or you can also scroll with the Q, and we can now start placing a sector like this. If you want, you can first create your room and then assign it textures, or you can reassign the textures. So once you create the room, the sector, it will automatically be created with those textures. So let's do that. So this the floor texture is the name is very like self-explanatory. It will be the texture of the floor of the sector we are about to create. So let's set floor. Let's use this, and this is ceiling texture. For a ceiling, let's use this one, and this is the walls of the sectors that we are about to create. So let's assign this. You can also change the colors, but I won't touch them yet. So now let's create a room. To do that, you can left click to start placing a wall, and as you can see, follows your mouse. And once you left click again, it creates the wall here and starts placing a new one. And if you press again, it will start creating a new one, and then a new one. And as you can see, there's a preview of the sector we are about to create. So let's make some interesting shape, not make it boring. And once the sector gets closed on itself, it will automatically create the sector. And as you can see, I can edit the sector from here as well. So even if you create the sector but you change your mind, you can change it from here. And as you can see, there's floors which are related to true room over room, and ceiling slopes. I will get to this in the second video probably. And you can also change the walls, including the alpha channel. Now we have a set loop, so let's look at it in the runtime editor, which will make more sense. So if you click the runtime editor, the editor will start. And as we can see, textures are as we assign them, and I can move around. And I can press shift to run to go faster. As you can see, the shape is exactly as we created in the sector in the editor. But the ceiling is built low, and I want to change it. I want to edit the sector. To do that, I can press tab to unlock my mouse, and now I cannot control my camera, but I can change my mouse position, and I can simply like drag my mouse over the ceiling and then scroll up with my middle mouse, and it will raise the ceiling. Similarly, I can lower the floor like this, or also raise it as well. And I can also modify it even further, just like in the level editor. I can change its textures, I can change its color. So let's give the ceiling a different color. So let's make it blue actually. I can also change it here as well. Let's make I can also change the alpha channel to make it completely transparent and assign a background in the level. I will get it remember. I can also just change the texture from here. As you can see, it gets updated. So that's really right. And similarly, I can also change the floor. Let's get it. And let's make this red actually. I can also edit the walls. Similarly, if you just right click, it will start editing the wall. These front and back sectors, they should not be touched unless it is always wrong. The editor automatically assigns them for you. They determine which sector the wall is attached to. And as I said, the editor automatically assigns them, so you shouldn't need to touch it. Now you can similarly just simply change the texture here, and also the color, obviously. But most importantly is the texture offset. So if I just drag and drop it, as you can see, the texture does change. The offset changes. This will help you align your textures. I can also double click to specify a value. And this is how you create a sector. Now let's create our playable character because we were in the runtime editor, but we want to make it a game. And you can also press the texture view mode to view the textures. So let's create our first playable character. To do that, we will go to the entity mode, or just simply scroll to the cube. And if you left click, also I forgot to mention, you can zoom in, and if you press the middle mouse button, you can scroll. So if you press left click in the entity mode, it will create a new entity, and as you can see, it gets assigned in the hierarchy. I can simply click on it in the hierarchy, or I can right click on it here to open the entity inspector, because its name, and you can see its ID and components. So Tilky engine uses an entity component system, which again you should be very familiar with if you ever use Unity, and I think Godot as well. I'm not sure about Godot actually. And if you do not know about the entity component system, let me explain briefly. So each entity by default is just you can imagine it as a blank box, like it has nothing except the position and the rotation and the scale, which it gets all assigned. And if you want to give it more like features, you need to give them components, which are a list of fields, a list of numbers basically that give it more features. For example, if you want to make the entity be affected by physics, such as gravity, you can assign it a rigid body component. And the engine behind the scenes loops through every single entity with a rigid body component, and it like basically calculates the physics stuff and moves around. So let's look at our components. I will not get into all of them now because I want to keep the tutorial short. I want to make it like parts instead of one long one. So if you press 7 play, the game will crash because every single level requires at least one active camera. So we can assign a camera from here, or as you have seen, there's a play controller which automatically adds the features that you would want in an FPS game, such as jumping, crouching, moving around. So you can simply add it. You just click it and press that, and as you can see, it automatically adds the necessary components for the play controller to function. The rigid body, as I just explained, adds physics. Collider makes it collide with other entities and walls, which is an optional thing. You can actually remove the collider component if you want to be able to move. The camera is like camera obviously, and the play controller. And as you can see, I just did. You can press edit, and you will see the values that you can adjust. For example, the speed, the running speed. Like I think these are a preset parameter. This eye height, as the tooltip explains, the word offset from the floor of the sector, which is different to the camera component. And every single feature has a tooltip that explains more stuff. And every single component has its own fields. So let's look at the collider component, which is a type of AABB and sphere. Currently, only sphere is implemented. AABB does not function yet. So only sphere collider works, which is a 3D collision actually, not a 2D. It's fully 3D. The radius and a step size. If the collider collides with a wall that is lower than the step size, it will step over, like it will move to the next sector. And yeah, you can play with them around. You can see what they're doing. So let's just create save and play. And yes, as you can see, we are in the game. Now we are in the play mode, which is different to the runtime mode. So we cannot edit the game, but we are playing it. So this is what we will get once we export the game and play it individually. As you can see, I can jump and look around because it's fully hardware accelerated. If you press tab, it will pause the game. It will unlock your cursor, and then you can close this. And we are back in the editor. So let's create a background now before exporting your game. Create it. To do that, we can assign the background texture here under work settings. And as you can see, there's more stuff here. These are all, I think, self-explanatory, so I don't need to go over them. And yeah, so under rendering, we have background texture. So let's assign something. Let's assign sky3.png. And if you press there and play, you can see it obviously because the ceiling is blocked. So we can either make it completely transparent here, or we can go to the runtime editor. We can right click here and let's make this completely transparent. And now we have our background. It looks kind of weird. It is not fully implemented yet. There are some few strangeness, as you can see, but the fix will come soon. And we can also see it. Let's say on play. And you might have seen these textures at the texture settings. These are texture filtering settings. And as the tooltip explains, this effect of textures are filtered in the hardware side, like in the GPU side. This mainly affect the bitmap levels. If you do not know the technical details behind this, you don't need to, because these tooltips, they explain which one you should use most of the time. So for example, if you are using a pixel art textures like I'm doing right now, you can use one of these. And if you are going for realistic textures, you can use the realistic filter. So let's look at our textures again. So these are kind of pixel art. As you can see, these are really pixel. But if we switch to a realistic texture and then start playing, and now these are way more. These are smoother. So this, like, you can pick any of them based on your style. So one last thing I want to do before exporting the game and concluding the part one is to create a sprite, which is a crucial part of the game. To do that, a sprite is also a component. So you can just create a new entity, right click and add a sprite component. And if you edit the sprite component, as you can see, there are some options. I will explain them now. But first, let's see our entity. So let's assign the texture. And let's give it this texture, which I got from Hex. And if you press there and play, as you can see, we have our texture. And because of the filtering, it looks really blurry. Actually, let's change the filtering to sharp, and let's go to runtime. And this is our player start. And now we have our the end step. If you right click, we can change its Y value. And now let's look at the sprite fields. So there's a direction level. Right now it is single, so the sprite is facing towards us with only one texture. And if you make it 8-sided, now the sprite will have 8 different textures based on which direction we are looking at. If you ever played Doom, you should know this. Doom also employs this method. So let's assign the textures. Let's make this north and this north. And this should be it. And now, if I move on, and now it is rotating around me. But it's not technically rotating, it's just changing its texture. So, yeah. I can also make it 4-sided if I want. And now it is 4-sided. And I accidentally closed the door. And if I make, if I can also change its color from here, I can also make it transparent. You can also adjust them all in the code, like this scripting. And most importantly, let me just close this for now and make it single. Most importantly, I can make it static. If I make this static, now it won't. It will stop facing towards us. Instead, it will be static, as the name suggests. And the reason is that there is no decal component. Instead, if you want to have a decal, you need to use this static. And let's point this to the wall. So let's move through the wall. I will add a feature to snap to the wall, but for now, here. Now it's attached to the wall. Let's see how it looks if we have 4-sided picture. Even static works. So let's look at our in-game. Yes, it's a complete decal. And you can use this feature to make walls or make buttons or paintings on the walls without them change the picture. And now let's export our game and see it as a standalone executable. So to do that, press project settings and you probably saw it before, there's a export game button. Just press it. It will take some seconds. So let's just wait. Yes, export completed. To see your exported game, open your file manager and then open your documents and Tilky engine and projects. Then find the project with your name, with the name of your project. My bad. Go to exports and then find the file folder with the project of your name. So this was my project too. If I double click it, as you can, all the files are here. Currently, exporting only works for Windows. The engine runs on Linux and Mac. But I haven't tested Mac yet, but it will run on Linux. But exporting only works for Windows now. Support will come in the future. So if you just double click standalone.exe, as you can see, the background is not working. I will not that one. As you can see, the export game is here. This is completely detached from the editor, the engine. But we can play around. Jump. And obviously there's no pubbing right now. So if you want to be able to close the game, you will have to write your own functionality. And you can put this standalone.exe on itch.io or Steam. The engine is licensed under the Apache 2.0 license, which means you can use this engine for commercial purposes without having to credit me or anyone in the project, and you can make money from it. But this was the part 1. for the engine. I want to keep this video brief. So that's why I didn't get into many details such as these features and the dark mode. It's actually very simple, but anyways. I will make a part 2 on this. In the part 2, I will probably explain how to make a true room over room and maybe get into scripting. Thank you for watching. The Steam release should be on August 10. I will release the trailer on YouTube soon. Have a nice day.